Continuing our many adventures, we bought a fire truck back in 2015. Intentions to convert it to a camper and explore the world. Join us. We are Ebe257. Good morning and welcome to this updated version of a walk round. It's about 10 months since we last did the walk around, and we've done a lot of work on Ebe, mainly on the inside, but I'll cover the outside very briefly, just so the new subscribers can see what we've got and what we've done in the past 10 months or so. So we're currently in the Yorkshire Dales. We've just been up Scotland. We've covered the NC500, we've done Isle of Lewis, Arris and Uist, and we've also done Skye as well. So if you haven't seen any of his previous clips or videos, click that subscribe button because there's plenty of content coming. So looking at the vehicle then, what we've got here is an old fire rescue vehicle. An old fire rescue vehicle, 38 years from manufacture, probably been kept in a garage for most of her life. Current mileage is 62,000 kilometres, so she's still a very young girl, barely running. And what is a fire rescue vehicle, and how does it differ from a fire engine, I guess? Even though it belonged to a fire station, it was their specialist vehicle. So Ebe carried all the cutting, winching, hydraulic, maybe water pumps and things like that. So all the specialist equipment what the fire service would need. From production, she's about 38 years old. She's a Mercedes 6-litre V6. One of the things you're probably going to be thinking now is miles per gallon. On average, she averages about 10 miles to the gallon. Even the sheep find that funny. So yeah, 10 miles to the gallon, which equates to about £25 an hour. So if you're going to travel an hour, then it's going to cost you around about £25. You've lost your mother, haven't you?
Oh, it's panicking.
That one is panicking. So, Ebe257, where did we get the name from? Ebe is short for Overland in Germany, and the 257, or the Ebe257, is actually the original call sign for the fire vehicle. The shield on the door, which we actually put this back on after respraying, the Wild Boys, the shield for Overland. So we've got the shield for Overland and then the original call sign of the vehicle. So 10 miles to the gallon, it seems a little bit excessive, but you've got to think you don't have to pay for campsites. With this sort of vehicle carrying 400 litres and a black tank that's virtually 100 litres, you're not going to need to be stopping on campsites every night. And through experience, the main cost of any trip is certainly your accommodation. So when we got Ebe, she was this bright orange colour, and a lot of people came up to us and said, "Oh, you're keeping her this colour, aren't you?" And to be honest with you, yes, we wanted to keep Ebe a bright orange colour, but in realistic terms, you know, you couldn't hide away in a forest or in a field if she's bright orange. She's a four-wheel drive vehicle. She has got a locking central diff and a locking rear diff, so she's quite capable off-road, although we don't really take her much off-road, but we do the rough roads. So something like this, getting to this point here, I mean, some of the roads are quite challenging, they are quite muddy in places, so something like this just gives you that little bit extra reach, more than what a motorhome could do, say, for instance. Off-road, yes, we do go off-road. I think people have different ideas of off-roading is. I mean, anything off tarmac can be classed as off-road. So we're not going to spend, you know, 60,000–70,000 pounds on a vehicle and 5 years of his life working on it to then trash it around a farmer's field. So yes, we do take Ebe off-road, but it's more rough roads. So there'll be tracks down to a parking area or tracks down to a wood where we're going to be stopping. So the wheels and tyres we've got on this, as you can see, they're not the knobbly tyres what you normally see on overland vehicles. They're more of a road going tyre. They are all terrain, so they're more 80% road, 20% off-road. They are the first generation tyre, and we did speak to Goodyear Dunlop over these tyres to get the best tyre for the vehicle and our needs. We did actually speak to Goodyear Dunlop, in fact one of their head guys, over the tyres, and he actually recommended the tyre what we've got. Truck tyres are not like car tyres. In fact, they're very different. Truck tyres, some of them will only turn and rotate one way, and some are designed just for steering. So we needed, with having a fifth spare tyre, we needed that tyre to go on all four corners, so not only steering but also multi-directional. We wanted something all-terrain as well, and also something what we could use in Europe in the winter. So we needed not only the mud and snow, but the snowflake and the three peaks. Now, the beauty about these tyres are, worst case scenario on the mileage would be 150,000 miles. They're a modern tyre as well, so they don't, you know, there's no road noise with them, and you're getting the ultimate, you know, miles per gallon. I see a lot of overland vehicles with chunky knobbly tyres on, which, you know, they do look great, right? But being an off-roader myself for many years, I know that once you get on tarmac, you know, you get the drone of the tyres, the miles per gallon drop, and at the end of the day, how much off-roading are you going to do? You know, that's the question. You know, if you were to be touring around Europe, you know, you may not see any mud or sludge. So I think the 80–20% ratio of an all-terrain tyre suits us, you know, perfectly. So going around the outside of the vehicle then, we've got a storage locker here. We just tend to keep us chairs, barbecue stuff in there. This is where the grey tanks are actually held, and you can see the exit funnels here for the grey tanks and black tank. So what we've got here is, in this part here, we have two tubes. These each stretch out to 10 foot apiece, and we connect the pipes onto there, and then obviously you can run that into a manhole cover, or if you have to, into a bucket, then into a Elson point. So we don't have a toilet cassette, we have an holding tank. In fact, we have two holding tanks, one for the black, one for the grey waste. They're both 96 litres, and this I believe is a big plus for a vehicle like this. We can go 10 days without emptying the toilet. 400 litres of water on board, we can go 10 days without needing fresh water. So if you want to get that little bit further away from civilization, you know, you've got that that ease of doing that with a much larger, certainly the black tank. We don't need to use any chemicals, so getting rid of the toilet waste as well is much easier than having a cassette. Think a cassette, chances are you're going to be using toilet blue, and you're going to need to be emptying it every 2 days. So having a black tank is a must on a vehicle like this. 240 power inlet, and then these are the truck batteries in here. I do apologise for the mud and the dirt and the scratches on the vehicle as well. Like I said, we have just come back from Scotland, so we've done probably, I don't know, something like 2,000 miles, and yeah, we've put the vehicle through its pace. Water inlet, and this is where the truck batteries are. So around the back then, the spare wheel is actually on the underside. We've got a basket on the back there for the wooden chocks, and we've got the sand ladders here. We've got underrun protection. As you can see, this actually lifts up, so if we are going off-road or we turn off-road, then if this is caught, then it will actually just lift up out of the way. Underrun protection, a little bit of a grey area. Technically on a motorhome you don't need underrun protection. On a truck or an HGV you do. There's a lot of pros and cons, and it is a grey area. I guess the thing is, do you really want to be pulled by Vosa for not having underrun protection? I don't know. So on the back here we've got a Yamaha Cero 225, a Japanese import, very good motorcycle. It's not a big machine, it's not designed for touring, even though these will actually go around the world. This is just for us, in our case, for nipping down into town or doing some shopping, so it's a commuting vehicle really. So the Yamaha Cero 225, a great vehicle, absolutely brilliant. It's a lightweight vehicle, it's ideal for commuting. I'm not going to use it on a long journey, you know, I'm not going to go across Europe on it or anything like that, but for nipping into towns and cities where car parking in a vehicle this size can be a little bit awkward. Not only that, a lot of the car parks now have the height restrictions on, and car parking isn't cheap. So for what the bike uses in fuel, insurance and road tax, to be quite honest with you, you probably only have to visit, 50 towns and cities in a year and you've paid for the bike. We've got a bike rack, which is a vertical lift. This is operated on a 24-volt winch. Now, incidentally, the winches what we've got in there all belong to like the quad bike family, and they're all 2-ton winches. Now we've got 3 actually on board. We've got one for the bike rack, one inside for the spare wheel, and then a third one up on the roof for any lifting what we need to do up on the roof. We can do that with a winch up there. So 3 winches in total. We've got auxiliary outlet here for such as laptops. If we sat outside on an evening and I want to do some editing or anything, I can plug the laptop into there, I can sit here and edit. The 2 rails on the side here, we often ask what these are for. These are for the sun awning what we've got. This locker, we've got a generator in here, a 2.2 kilowatt generator, which we have been using extensively on this trip, mainly for heating the hot water. LPG fill point and an LPG outlet. The generator, yeah, it's the most essential bit of kit on the vehicle, and I can't understand anyone not having a generator. I mean, after all, it's the ultimate power. Solar's fine if we've got nice sunny weather, but if you're parked in a forest then, or it's been dark for a few days, then you're struggling to do things. You know, you've got to cut back on the amount of things you can charge and so on. So having a generator, it's very easy to just fire up the generator, warm the hot water, put the heating on, cook. You can do all sorts with it. You can, you know, just by firing we tend to use the generator for warming the hot water, and we'll run the generator for about an hour. An hour and a half to warm 20 litres of hot water. So 2 persons can have a shower. And in that hour and a half, we can charge, you know, the drone batteries, the camera batteries, anything else we want to charge as well. So yes, we can use 12 volt to charge, but then that's coming off the main batteries. So whilever the generator is running, then we're going to charge everything we can. Not only that, with the generator as well, if you're carrying welding gear, I mean, if you're going somewhere distant and you bust a spring or something like that, are you going to be carrying welding gear? And if you are, then you're going to need to power that welding gear. Alright, you can run it off an inverter, but you know, it's going to take a lot of power. So a generator is the be all and end all of power on an overland vehicle like this. The entrance door, handrail, and the steps. So I've made a video on the entrance steps, what we've got, so you can check back and actually check that out. But basically the top step slides away underneath the door here. The handrail basically unscrews off and goes up above the fuel tank, and the steps, these have got extendable legs down here, so we can adjust them to the height of the ground. But the steps basically go into this compartment just here at the side of the fuel tank. The fuel tank is 295 litres, and the steps basically go up here and sit here, and everything's all locked away, all nice and neat for when we're travelling. Right, we'll have a look inside. So we'll just glance over the inside of the cab here. This has been covered in previous videos when we did the electrics, but basically nothing untowards than a normal truck in here. So we have upgraded the seats in here. We have got this cubby box, we've got a tray, we've got the fire extinguisher. What else? Sat nav, obviously we've got the GoPro equipment, new full fuel gauge gone in. We've got the reversing camera as well as a wide angle camera. What I found out with this vehicle being left hand drive, you had to basically double check every junction. That as you approach the junction, you had to like read the junction, whether you could be able to actually see out. And there were a couple of times it caught me out where you had to like either reverse up or you had to get your head really right up to the windscreen to be able to see down. So the wide angle camera is a godsend really. So that's one of the best upgrades we've had so far. What else? We've got a radio. We're going to upgrade the speakers. I keep saying I'm going to keep upgrading these, and I never do, but we need a couple more speakers in here and so on. One of the latest additions, what we've did just basically last month, again it's in one of the previous vlogs, is the crawl through, and that's about it in here. That's about it. So right, okay, let's have a look inside the living area then. Now the living area, it's not going to be to everyone's taste. We've tried to make it as homely as possible, bringing in a lot of natural wood and a lot of reclaimed timber as well. Yeah, a lot of reclaimed things. What we tended to find out were when we first started looking at vehicles like this, those tend to be a little bit, I would say, hygienic. They look, you know, the white, white walls, white surfaces, and it was a little bit like a dentist room. So we didn't want that feel to it. We wanted, I mean, after all, it's our home, and want it to be quite homely. Not only that, the wall finishes and the cupboard finishes what we've used. If after 2 or 3 years we get bored of them, we can quite easily take them off and replace them with something fresh. And I think that's one of the big advantages of going down this route of customizing your finishes. Yes, we've got quite a large bathroom. The shower tray is 800 by 800, which is a standard household shower. I also wanted the space that when you step out of the shower, you've got enough room to get dried. We just didn't want to be in a situation where you're having a shower over your toilet and you're clattering your elbows. And yes, I mean, everything in a camper has a consequence. So I mean, if you have a large bathroom, you're going to have a slightly smaller dining area and so on. But again, it's everyone to their own personal choice, and we wanted a full-size shower and a full-size bathroom basically. The fridge freezer the freezer's got a 60-litre capacity. We do a lot of sea fishing, and if the mackerel's in one day, then we're going to catch an handful of mackerel and put them in the freezer, obviously. So we wanted a large freezer. Yeah, that's it. Wanted a large freezer. The worktop is ash. I actually did this a few years back with a graphite grey river running through it, and same again, it's a nice feature rather than just having a plain old Formica worktop. It brings character and that level of warmth into the camper as well, and it's ideal with having the lift up splashback. The hob, as you can see, is induction and also LPG. I guess another question we do get asked is, you know, who built it? You know, and I think a lot of people automatically assume that this vehicle were built, or the living quarter on the back was built by a company. It wasn't. It was built by myself and Helen. It was built over a period of 7 months. That doesn't mean to say it's complete now, 4 years later, but yes, the original build lasted 7 months. We started in April 2016 and then we finished sometime in September. So the fire engine back came off and then we built everything on the chassis. So rather than building a box and the box being fitted, the independent chassis was actually fitted onto the truck chassis, and then the box was actually built on top. I do have a video of what it looked like after the first 7 months when I returned back to work. In fact, I'll put that on now for you because it shows where we've actually come and where we are now, I guess. So as you can see, the vehicle looks totally different today. Well, that sums it up, guys. If you haven't done already, please like, subscribe and share. Definitely subscribe because there's plenty of content coming onto the tube now. We've currently, as I mentioned earlier, just actually done a 4-week trip touring Scotland and the islands. So there's loads of content and loads of film I've got to sort through and get on the net. So subscribe and click all and you get all the notifications. So from the Yorkshire Dales then, I'm going to say thanks very much and we'll see you on the next adventure.